This intervention plan is based on responsible drinking. It was prepared by Shauna and Tori Surman and prepared for Dr. Maria Rossetti.
This report was commissioned to create an innovative and ethical downstream intervention to address responsible drinking. Responsible drinking is a major social issue within the Australian society, as many parents commonly overconsume alcohol. The effects of this behaviour were evident through the actions that were portrayed through the children's relationship with alcohol. A scoping study was completed which included a general definition of responsible drinking, the need for change, along with a literature review of statistics and data surrounding alcohol consumption. The target market was clearly segmented into 25 to 40-year-old parents who are part of a typical Australian family. Intervention aims were developed to create clear objectives over 1 year for the intervention plan. Potential partners and important stakeholders were also discussed. The intervention had 2 phases in order to achieve different aims. Phase 1 included product strategy and price strategy by creating a campaign that would encourage consumers to drink responsibly by reducing alcohol intake. Consumers would mostly benefit from this by receiving monetary rewards, as consuming less alcohol means spending less money. Phase 2 of the intervention plan comprised of place and promotion strategies, along with creative strategy and media planning. The main place for the campaign to feature will be on nighttime television, where the promotion is most valuable to the targeted consumer. Evaluation methods were also included to ensure the success of the campaign could be measured. Ethical considerations and unintended consequences were also taken into place when designing this intervention. A contingency plan was also proposed in order to combat any of these consequences.
Here's a table of contents for the intervention plan. This report focuses on the act of responsible drinking and the current and potential threat that it poses to society. Through the development of a scoping study, our innovative and ethical intervention plan has been created in order to combat the present issues associated with irresponsible drinking. The goals of the intervention plan will be outlined, along with any potential partners and important stakeholders that could contribute to the success of this intervention plan. This persuasive intervention plan will incorporate the use of product, price, place, and promotion strategies. This downstream intervention plan will focus on the specified target market and will have multiple phases, all to help achieve the intervention aims. To ensure success of this campaign, evaluation strategies will also be included, along with any ethical considerations. Potential unintended consequences will also be discussed to ensure a realistic result.
The importance of responsible drinking is to ensure that healthy relationships are formed between the use of alcohol and parents, and therefore positively influence children's perspectives of alcohol consumption. Alcohol is commonly overconsumed by parents as a way to relax after a hard day of work, due to their generational influence by their parents. However, unbeknown to the parents, the consequences of their irresponsible drinking behaviour can inflict onto their children, starting at a young age. A parent is responsible for their children and their behaviour for the future, and therefore by targeting parents, a negative consequence could be changed to a positive outcome by encouraging the act of responsible drinking. Statistics were found in a national survey of Australian secondary school students that by the age of 14, 90% of children had already had a taste of alcohol, and by the age of 17, 70% of those students had consumed alcohol within the previous month of the survey. Research also states that alcohol consumption by 12 to 17-year-olds has doubled in the past 20 years. The most common risks involved with teenage drinking include unintentional injuries, risky behaviour, homicide, and suicide. It is important to modify the current behaviour that adults have towards drinking when around their children, to ensure that their irresponsible behaviour does not continue through the generations. The importance of changing the current attitude of responsible drinking stems from the various health issues that can arise from irresponsible drinking. These health issues include delaying or affecting the development of the brain, as well as the development of alcohol-related harms in adulthood.
The key theme identified throughout the evaluation of various credible source documents was the negative influence regarding the consumption of alcohol from parents' own behaviour. Another key theme was parents' low awareness of their child's behaviour, integrated with the age their child would first consume alcohol. Other key themes also included early adolescent alcohol use and low parental monitoring. It was also found that the heaviest alcohol consumption occurred in senior high school students and university students. However, the key gaps identified were that many advertising campaigns only targeted underage and drink driving. They failed to promote the problems associated with the heavy consumption of alcohol in adults. It was also identified that young adolescents have a lack of education regarding how many standard drinks should be consumed on any one occasion to drink responsibly. Another gap was a common inconsistency within responsible drinking advertising campaigns, as they failed to promote a clear message. Another major gap also included a lack of Australian research into the misuse of alcohol, and therefore international statistics were heavily relied on.
This conceptual framework outlines the links and factors that contribute to irresponsible drinking within young adolescents. As seen here, there is a general correlation between age, gender, and the overall lack of education, which leads to irresponsible drinking. However, the strongest contributing factor arises from parental influences, which corroborated with the theory of reason action. The theory of reason action also incorporated past behavioral patterns and attitudes that stem from parental and social influences.
The target audience for this intervention plan can be segmented both geographically and demographically. On a geographic approach, the specific target audience would be considered to live in any urban area within Australia. Demographically, the target audience is limited to 25 to 40-year-old parents that occupy full-time jobs and have young children. The target audience earns a middle-range income and is considered to be a middle to high social class. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, a typical Australian family consists of 2 parents and 2 children. These children on average are aged from 6 to 9 years. Therefore, this is why 25 to 40-year-old parents are targeted, as this is the most common age that they would have 6 to 9-year-old children. The chosen intervention, which targets the specified target audience, is highlighting the importance that parents need to be the right influence for their children. This will help ensure that generational drinking problems are not continued.
The aim of this intervention is to educate parents about the risks associated with irresponsible drinking, and therefore ensuring that their children possesses a healthy relationship with alcohol. By educating parents, it will ensure that all parents are aware of potential risks and dangers involved with underage drinking, teenage binge drinking, or the act of irresponsible drinking at any age. Through the use of this intervention, there is a large focus on reducing alcohol consumption and therefore reducing all possible dangers that coincide with irresponsible drinking. These dangers include unintentional injuries, risky sexual behavior, car-related harms, homicide, and suicide. Within 1 year of this intervention plan, there is a goal to limit parents' overall alcohol consumption and raise awareness surrounding the risks involved.
It is necessary to have partners and important stakeholders in any intervention plan to ensure success. As you can see here, these are all potential partners for this intervention, and hyperlinks have been created for you to access these partners. Important stakeholders include the Australian Government, as we would require funding for the campaign. Consumers were also another important stakeholder.
Phase 1 of our intervention plan consists of product and price strategies. When evaluating a product, either a good or service, it's essential to understand it on 3 levels, existing of the core, actual, and augmented levels. The core level provides the basic benefit for the individual. The actual level is a specific way to achieve certain behavior, and the augmented level compromises of helping to perform the desired behavior and includes tangible services. Within our intervention plan, the core service can be seen as the healthy and happy family relationship surrounding the use of alcohol, whereas the actual product level is to reduce the consumption of alcohol. The augmented level consists of counselling services and help websites, such as DrinkWise, Alcohol Think Again. The augmented level is where the company has a chance of differentiating itself from competitors. In this case, this is where the message could be strongly differentiated to target alcohol companies who are promoting an opposite message. Product level branding is the development of brands for each individual intervention, and therefore the product level branding for this individual intervention is Be the Right Influence, which is solely targeted at parents.
Section 2 of Phase 1 includes the price strategy. Price relates to the value or sacrifice exchanged for the guaranteed benefits and can include intangible costs such as embarrassment, psychological hassle, and diminished pleasure. These states occur when a behavior change is being modified. Price can usually be a barrier when modifying behavior change. However, in this case, reducing the consumption of alcohol actually reduces costs to the consumer. There are some monetary costs that could be considered barriers, which involve the costs associated with counselling or psychology services. Non-monetary costs can be described as barriers that cause inconvenience, such as time, effort, and psychology. This would include the consumer's physical discomfort, along with the reduction of alcohol affecting the psychological habits. Monetary rewards could be seen as the reduction in money that would be spent on alcohol.
Phase 2 of our intervention plan consists of place and promotion strategies, creative strategy, and media planning, along with methods to evaluate success. Determining the place strategy for an intervention plan is one of the most important aspects and includes when and where the specified target market can perform the wanted behavior and acquire any tangible objects. Place also incorporates organizations and people who can provide information, services, and any other duties that can enforce the modification in behavior change. Within this intervention, it is imperative to ensure that the place is easily accessible and convenient, in order for consumers to view the competing behavior of irresponsible drinking as less convenient and less attractive. The place of this intervention plan will take place on television of a night time, as parents generally work throughout the day and typical Australian families sit down of a night time from 6 p.m. onwards and watch television together. The campaign will also be available on the internet and could include still shots of the advertisements at shopping centres.
Section 2 of Phase 2 includes promotion strategy. Promotions are creative and persuasive communication messages which are developed to deliver to specific target audiences in hope of them modifying behavior change. The main message that the intervention is communicating is to ensure that parents are encouraged to be a good role model for their children and therefore emphasize our branding of be the right influence. Our target market needs to be informed of the risks associated with irresponsible drinking in order to not pass these bad habits down through the generations. The message will be positioned to directly target family relationships and how they are both influenced and damaged by alcohol consumption. We will use behaviour-focused and benefits-focused message positioning to ensure the target market understands the need for modifying their behaviour change. The Australian Government will sponsor the advertisement in order to show authority and reliability. Various actors in the campaign will deliver the message.
The message of Be the Right Influence will be positioned within a 20-second advertisement and will include various actors acting out a scene in a typical family home. The actors will play 2 parents and 2 children, which coincide with a typical Australian family home. Basing this advertisement inside a typical Australian family home will create a meaningful and believable advertisement which the target audience can relate to. The advertisement displayed by the storyboard will continuously convey the message of Be the Right Influence through creating a scene where the parents overconsume alcohol in front of their children. The advertisement will then focus in on the children watching their parents drinking irresponsibly, and then will quickly fast forward to the future when they are parents themselves, mirroring the same image that had just been shown. This will highlight the generational issues that are involved with irresponsible alcohol consumption. The end shot will include the words Be the Right Influence to ensure the campaign is distinctive. A DrinkWise link, which is an information and help site, will also feature at the end. The messages will be mainly shown via the television advertisement breaks of nighttime from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. As you can see, this is a still shot of the advertisement that will feature in various shopping centres to help reinforce the message to Australian families.
Social marketing intervention plans need to be continually evaluated to determine both effectiveness and success of the intervention. When evaluating interventions, it is imperative to base results from a clear baseline, which in this case is the amount of incidents caused from alcohol-related problems. That includes both hospital admissions and counselling services. After 1 year from the start date of the intervention, the amount of hospital admissions and counselling treatments will be reassessed. Media tracking will also be monitored to know how many people have viewed the campaign. Surveys will also be used and distributed for voluntary families who are willing to open up about their relationship with alcohol.
When designing a social marketing intervention plan, it is important to ensure all ethical considerations are contemplated in order to create a successful and ethical intervention plan. Ethical considerations within social marketing can be described as a constraint that may affect or limit the intervention's aims. Ethical considerations within the intervention are important to ensure that the advertisement is seen as ethically credible. As we are targeting a typical Australian family, it allows majority of Australian families to relate to the advertisement. However, the age group between children and parents, which are teenagers, are evidently Australia's heaviest drinkers. However, there are already countless campaigns targeting this issue. When designing this intervention, another ethical consideration that took place was not to make the scene too scary or violent in order to ensure the consumers did not feel anxious or distressed. Social responsibility, responsible mentoring, non-discrimination, and openness were all ethical considerations that were taken into account when the intervention was created.
With any marketing interventions, unintended consequences can occur, and therefore it is crucial to have a clear understanding of any unwanted effects that may arise. One common unintended consequence within public health interventions is that consumers have a boomerang effect to the campaign, and instead result in the opposite reaction. This is caused by psychological reactance, which means the consumer is aroused by the state of performing the opposite behaviour, and therefore in this case would be irresponsible drinking in comparison to responsible drinking. Another unintended consequence is the thought that Australian parents will believe that they are parenting wrong, and therefore are bad role models for their children. However, this is not what the advertisement is portraying, and instead just wants the parents to reconsider their alcohol consumption, and therefore modify their behaviour when around their children. Even though there is a risk of unintended consequences, the benefits received from the behaviour modification will outweigh these. A planned contingency that has been put in place to combat any of these possibilities is the various help services that are largely available.
Overall, irresponsible drinking is a major concern within Australian families, and therefore this issue needs to be addressed through an intervention plan. Through the analysis of a scoping study that provided a basis for the current research and statistics surrounding alcohol use, it was evident that there were various gaps linking to parents' overconsumption of alcohol. Therefore, an intervention plan will include an advertising campaign targeting parents with the message "Be the Right Influence." This message will convey to the parents the importance of being a good role model for their children in order for them and their children to have a healthy relationship with alcohol.
These next two slides create all the references that were used to create this intervention plan. Thank you for watching.